Broadcasting to you on WNN 1470 AM and TrentoVision.tv from the world's leading think tank laboratory, buried deep in an undisclosed building in hostile territory where evil and corruption is exposed. You're about to enter the Tom Trento Show.
Arrow border, all hands back at battle station.
Tom Trento heads United West, a group that says it defends Western civilization against the onslaught of Islam.
Hey, on this 18th day of December, Wednesday, 2013, I'd like to welcome all of you tonight to Trento's Hideaway, where we're just going to be grooving and jamming, all you cats and you chicks out there. We're just going to be grooving and jamming tonight.
And getting us banned from YouTube.
Anybody recognize that tune?
That's
I don't know.
in the
How about you,
audience?
blues guy?
Any blues?
Anybody in the audience recognize that
The
tune?
bluesy kind of bluesy melody.
Well, let it go. Let the people hear it.
Nobody can hear it.
Nobody can hear that?
Nobody can hear this stuff.
How come?
Because
It's gotta be in the front?
It's got to be on the front of the microphone. There you go.
Anybody in the room recognize that?
No.
No.
You? You do?
What is it?
It is the one and only cover of Bobby Bland's Ain't Got Money's
It is.
Getting Cheaper.
It is by
Bobby Bland. They got my.
by our guest here tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Johnny B. Good, live in the house.
Right. Pretty good. Pretty good at Trento's Hideaway. Yeah. We have a guest tonight who's a blues player. And he's here from out of town, out of state, out of the country, out of everywhere.
Out of anywhere.
We're glad he's here. We won't tell you his name, but we gave you a little hint.
Yeah.
And if you'd like to book him, call me. I'm his new agent, okay? So we
We'll
got
got
a
you.
great show for you on the 18th. 1 week before Christmas 2013. We got a little bit of Obama, quite a bit of Obama. And Obama basically is tanking. We're going to show you why the Messiah is tanking. And then we have
Right.
the Muslim Brotherhood, while they are still terrorists. Oh, wait. Maybe it's why Obama is a terrorist and the Brotherhood is tanking. One of those things. That's our show, quite a bit of our show.
Actually, their fates have been tied rather closely together.
Very closely together, indeed. But hello, everybody. Tom Trento, no CJ this week. She's off putting some stuff together for us. And
She's
doing
been
some other
helping
things.
Santa finish the last
Last
toy
of the
making with the
toys.
elves.
Yes, the last of the toys. So WNN 1470, that's where we're broadcasting on the radio side. On the video side, TrentoVision.tv, that will link you right up to theunitedwest.org.
There you go.
That's where you can watch the show. Archives, 600 hours. And we suggest all of you off for Christmas vacation start watching every single hour.
I mean, you
There's
get
going
tired.
to be a test.
There will be a test.
I mean, don't watch 24 hours of A Christmas Story. Don't watch little
32nd Street, the Miracle on 35th
Juju get her
Avenue,
bell and everything like that. or
Santa
whatever.
and the reindeer
And, you know,
get mugged by
Christmas Vacation. Blow it all off. There you go.
go
Gather
watch
the family around.
and
right.
watch how
Run-
John Brennan
how
converted to
John-
Islam. That's family viewing.
That's the family. Hey, do you like the mini-me shot up there?
Oh, no, I don't.
No, you don't like the mini-me
Okay, you're
shot?
floating in the universe. They want to see more of you, Mark. The audience, your fans
give 'em
want to
the
see
real
My
double shot.
My real double shot.
your fans want to see more of you.
Yeah.
All right, WNN 1470 on the radio side. Thank all of you for tuning in. Do not text and drive. I have spent many years racing automobiles, and
My wife just did that.
She did it?
Yeah, and she crashed in the back of a car.
I occasionally text, and it is worse than speaking on the phone, worse than doing my makeup on the phone. Oh, excuse me.
It's worse than drunk driving.
In many respects, it is. It's very, very bad to text because you're looking down, you're thinking about it. You got to put your fingers in those little. Don't text and drive. Cut it out. It can wait. Cut it out. It can wait. A public service announcement from TrentoVision for all of you folks. And gentlemen, what do you got going on this week before Christmas?
I still gotta go buy Christmas presents. I haven't done anything. I've been so bad. I'm going online. I think I'm going totally online this year.
Mark, what is a Muslim like Imam Abdullah? What does he buy for Christmas? For gifts? I mean, he's going to give you a gift. What do you think he'll buy you? Or should we ask him?
What's asking? Well, he already bought you the Shia pet.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
He already won.
Shia pet. I buy everyone Shia pet. I was handing them out last night.
Yeah, the
Did you
Shia
not see
pets.
it?
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot.
Yeah, pull up the Shia pet. We'll
I
show
bring
that.
to
Okay.
party last night for a fundraiser. Everyone gets Shia pet.
All right, Imam Abdullah, he's here with us, and I got Reliance behind me. And
Excellent
I'm
book.
sure
Everyone should abide by.
But I opened with a classic American musical genre, blues.
Ooh, that's right. We forgot about that, didn't we?
Haram.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I mean,
Haram.
this is indigenous music to our
Right.
culture that
Right.
You have no culture,
that
but continue.
thrills and encourages, excites and
Yeah,
relaxes
just-
Americans and human beings worldwide. What about you Muslims? What do you think? of
Let me say,
blues?
all that filth encourages is a behavior that is not approved by Allah. So we do not believe in the playing of the string instruments, music in general, unless the only thing that can occasionally be sung would be the words of Allah.
Okay. So what do you do for enjoyment with music?
We do not.
That's your music.
That's your music.
Good. I saw somebody sent me an email. You get these
Right.
cartoons. It wasn't a cartoon. It said, when you take your class photo and years later
Right.
you look at everybody 20 years later and you go, oh, there's Joey, there's Mary, there's this. Well, this was obviously an Islamic high school class. Everybody in full burqas with little slits and saying, it makes it so easy to remember your classmates. I'm gonna send it to you. I want you to put this picture up. I mean, it is hysterical. It really is. And look,
I remember her eyes.
and look, I just want to reach out to our Muslim community and friends and thank you for the many, many laughs you provide for us. It really, in your absurd.
How can you actually be a liberal and support this? Look,
It's the gift
here's our
that
class
keeps on
photo.
giving.
I gotta find it here somewhere. I'll find it in the course of the show here, and I'll send it to you.
All
But
right,
let's
yeah, well-
start right now.
Okay.
At what do we have? 10 minutes after 3 o'clock on the East Coast in Florida.
Right.
Florida, if you're from another universe, is the long, skinny thing down the bottom of the country on the right side. You don't even have to know directions.
That's right.
Bottom, right side,
You gotta
long,
lift
skinny
the world
thing.
up a little bit for everyone, Mark.
Yeah.
That's Florida.
Yeah, it's right over Tom's right shoulder.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No,
No, it's
the
down
computer's blocking it.
It's down here. Yeah, the
you need
computer.
to
That's,
it
you
up.
need to lift
Oh,
the
you-
world a hair.
Here,
Maybe,
let me
maybe
get
hold on. The other.
Hold on. Let Mark stretch out a little
There we
bit.
go,
He's
there we
got
go.
some heavy lifting to do
Let's
here.
go to camera one. Camera one will have it over there. There you go.
There we go.
It's right over your microphone. There it is, right there. Yeah, move your mic. There you go. There it is.
Yeah, the radio audience is quickly changing channels.
I'll tell you what, this is not
Yes,
that easy.
and nobody can hear you, Tom.
If I did the weather from here, this would be okay. Over here in New York, oops. Over here in California, oops. Everything's reversed.
You know, we underestimate the difficulty of some of the TV meteorologists.
Yes, this is tough.
That's a rough job. It really is.
I mean, considering you batting 500s a victory, that's a tough job.
That's true. All right, here's what we have at 10 minutes after 3 o'clock on the East Coast in Florida. As we said, welcome folks on the West Coast, lunchtime crowd. And those of you in Israel, dinner time. We got everybody covered here.
Yes.
You know, we were in Israel a month or two ago, and it's 10 o'clock at night there right now, 7 hours ahead. Everybody's going out in Tel Aviv around 10 o'clock. Going to
Yeah.
dinner. It's very much European in that sense.
Not in
Party
Jerusalem.
time.
Not in Jerusalem, though.
No, Jerusalem's a little different.
Yeah, Jerusalem's a little.
Especially on a Friday night, kind of closes up shop. That's okay. Here's what we got for you with President Obama to start on this 18th day of December. Right. We're 5 years into his reign. King Barack Hussein Obama the first.
Yes.
He is functioning de facto as a totalitarian leader in many respects. He is stymied by the tripartite system we have of three branches. He prefers to do what he normally does, always get his way. Thank God the framers said, we could have a whack job president in there one day, and we've got to build in these firewalls.
Called checks and balances.
Yeah, they're called checks and balances, and we appreciate those guys for sacrificing their lives, their treasures, their honor, to put this thing in a right direction over 237 years, longest functioning democracy. You look at these countries that pop up here and there, some generals ruling it, and then a year later they've sliced each other's throats, then some other banana nitwit comes up, and somehow the stability of the United States has been maintained. The transfer of power has been bloodless, and this works. Now we have the left saying, you know what? Let's try Marxism once again, because we went to Columbia, we went to Harvard, we went to Yale.
It should work. I'm telling you, it should work.
And when it doesn't work, let's double down and make it like really, really big,
because
like healthcare.
It isn't the ideology of Marxism, it's the implementation of Marxism.
And now that we've got the smartest man ever in the White House, what a better time to try again.
You think Messianic smart? Do you think he's Messianic smart?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's ask Barbara Walters if he's Messianic smart. How about that? In fact, Piers Morgan, just a day or so ago, asked Barbara Walters, what's happening with the president? He was shaking and almost in tears. And listen to her answer, Barbara Walters' answer about why things aren't going that well for the Messiah.
She says, we thought Obama was going to be the next Messiah.
Where's the video? Let's show the video.
Oh, we have the video.
Yes.
I am so sorry. Here we go.
Well, let's go ahead and play it. Yeah, we'll play straight from the thing.
Yeah.
So, well, we have to come back to it in a little second.
All right, we're going to come back to it.
Oh, here it is. Okay, turn the volume up.
Why is Obama facing so much opposition now? Why is he struggling so much to really fulfill the great flame of ambition and excitement that he was elected on originally in 2009?
Well, you've touched on it to a degree. He made so many promises. We thought that he was going to be, I shouldn't say this at Christmas time, but the next Messiah. And the whole Obama period.
Stop the presses.
Hold on.
Stop the presses.
Oh, we shouldn't say this at Christmas time.
Presses.
But he was going to be the next Messiah.
Really fulfill the great flame of ambition and excitement
cue
that he
that
was
back
elected
up.
on
I want everybody to
originally
listen
in
real
2009.
carefully. This is very, very important. Kill it right now.
To a degree. He made so many promises.
Okay,
we thought that he was going to be, I shouldn't say this at Christmas time, but the next Messiah. And
okay, now I'm a Christian, and I believe Jesus is the Messiah. We work
to a
with
degree.
many Jewish
He
people.
made so many promises.
That's all right. Okay.
We work with many Jewish people, and they don't believe Jesus is the Messiah. They believe the Messiah is still coming. But we both have a messianic view of life. Okay?
Right.
And neither Jews nor Christians believe that Obama has anything to do with the Messiah. Okay? Has anything to do with the Messiah.
He's the Antichrist.
Yeah. And the problem is, she wasn't saying the Messiah, small m, like a generic
she's
category
saying that
of somebody who does well. She's looking at, there's a concept of Messiah, a theological concept that says he comes back, he's a political ruler, and he brings world peace, right?
Yeah, I haven't thought about this
The Christian concept is he's not a political ruler. He brings personal peace. He equips people to live at peace, and if everybody does that, there's a peaceful world, notwithstanding the particular government structure that's out there. But she's talking about a Messiah with a capital M that can figure out how to bring world peace.
I shouldn't say this at Christmas time, but the next Messiah.
That's what she's talking about.
Yes.
It's shocking. It's shocking.
No, I just,
As soon as she said that, she probably said, oh, my God.
Well, no, because she said, I probably shouldn't say this, and she still said it anyway. So she wasn't saying after she said it. Listen, here is the problem. What this is this is a complete admission by the media, and she is media royalty, is she not?
Yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
this is an admission by the queen of mainstream media that they have been dishonest with the American public for the better part of 9 years now, because this guy was anointed in 2004 as the coming Messiah. So this is an admission by the mainstream media that they have not done any news reporting. They never vetted this guy. This guy couldn't get a job as a field officer in the FBI based on his history. The press, what is supposed to be the safeguard to the American people, the fifth column that's supposed to protect us, failed to do it, and they did it deliberately because they thought they had their Messiah of the left.
And if you look at it, one other point on that is you're starting to see a little bit of revolt. You remember last week they had the press revolt at the White House, where we're tired of being fed, pictures. We want to get in there and take the pictures.
No way.
And you're seeing and if you, I wish you guys listening on this could see Barbara Walters' face as she's saying it. It's almost like, oh my God, it's just so, I'm just so let down. It's just.
And Pierce Morgan was the same way.
Same way. They looked like beaten puppy dogs. They're just like, he's lied to us. And they have not, I think they have finally come to the conclusion at some level or in some degree that this guy is lying to us. This guy is manipulating us. And it's such a downer for them.
Well, when you lie, Mark, folks, this is what happens. Let's go to
You'll play the rest of the clip?
The who?
You'll play the rest of the clip?
Let's just hear us say it one last time if we can.
He made so many promises. We thought that he was going to be, I shouldn't say this at Christmas time, but the next Messiah.
We thought he was going to be the next Messiah. Well, when the Messiah crashes and burns, here's what happens. Take a look at Business Insider. Pull that site up. And this is today. I believe this is today, the 18th, at 19 minutes after 3 o'clock on the 18th. This article is from yesterday, the 17th. And we're going to show you what's happening now, folks. Our big idea for the first part of the show, President Obama is tanking. His messianic glow is unglowing. And he's getting a biggest possible piece of coal you could imagine in his White House stocking this year. Let's take a look at this website here. Okay. This is not Fox News. This is not The Blaze. This is not some, right-wing conservative crazy deal. It's what?
ABC.
Yeah, it's a Business Insider. And it's
an ABC poll. I'm sorry, it's a Washington Post ABC poll
in a business newspaper. Read it. Somebody.
Obama's current approval rating is the ugliest since Nixon.
Uh-oh.
Hey, now somebody has to write a headline.
Hold on. They're comparing the Messiah to Nixon.
Well, look at what happened. They took a Washington Post owned by. A guy who owns Amazon now, Jeff Bezos, and he's buying it. And a ABC News poll. So these are not your, conservative groups. And somebody wrote it's so bad that not only are they comparing him to President Nixon in the 70s, who quit before he got impeached, but they're also saying, they use the term ugliest, the adjective, the ugliest since Nixon.
Well, that's not fair because Obama is so handsome and Nixon was so ugly. I don't care what the polls say. That's Obama. That's a race. That's a racist.
That's a racist view. That's for sure.
Racist.
Racist. Obama to me looks like the black Alfred E. Newman.
Because you're talking about his big ears and all of that. He had some kids come into the White House yesterday, and they're showing the footage because there was a talk show host that was with the president. And as the kids are coming in, there's this little black kid with big, gigantic ears, right? And the president goes, "Hey, you got ears just like mine, right? You're going to be a good guy." It was kind of a cute thing that somebody drew attention to the kid's ears for the rest of his life, The poor kid.
Racist.
The poor kid. But when you folks lose your messianic splendor,
right?
And when the polls start tanking, which is our big idea, often there's some factual reasons why. We're going to go through some of the 10 or 20 Pinocchio lies that have occurred in this administration that have flown out of the oratorically skilled lips of President Obama. Take a look at this now.
Oh, you don't want to go through any of those poll numbers?
Well, they're pretty bad. They're, 40... Go through.
Yeah, let's go
just
through
real
this
quick.
real quick.
Okay, let me pull them
We should
back.
actually make up a Christmas song for that.
The lows are,
That's
are
right.
the
I
lowest.
know someone who is going through making a Christmas list. Some of the key findings of the WAPO ABC poll. 43% of respondents approve of Obama, compared with 55 who disapprove.
That's phenomenal. That's a phenomenal differential.
Now, this is amazing. 42% approve of how he's handling the economy. I don't know how anyone could approve of the way this
Oh no, there's
man is
look,
There's
a hardcore 40%. Sometimes it goes to 43, 44. Hardcore that are Democrats, blind, ears plugged, everything. They'll never change. They ain't changing. It's 40% that are always going to be over there and always approve of a Democrat president.
Now, the last good one on here is 42% trust Obama with the implementation of the Affordable Care Act.
When you get close to 40% on the positive side to a Democrat president, you know you're in serious trouble.
Now,
I mean, you know you're in serious trouble.
42% trust Obama with the implementation of Obamacare. That's pretty bad if only 40% of the country trusts you to implement something named after you.
But MSNBC today on the 18th kept saying, 1 million people have already signed up. 1 million people.
Oh,
A million people.
Hey, how about the 6 or 7 million that have been canceled, dummy?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that is going nowhere. I mean, they're going to have to
it's
make
gonna
all kinds
crash
of
and burn.
changes. And
I mean, it's not just going to crash and burn. It's going to blow up in the sky in little bitty pieces and come tumbling down on everybody's head throughout America. This thing is such a disaster, and everybody's looking at it. Even though you cannot even be a left socialist person and actually say there's anything good about this. And Michelle's going to go out and try to sell this thing in the next 3 days.
they're going to pull her in, and Obama's busy in this. You know, in the Oval Room, there's a trap door in the wall. It's a fake bookcase. You can go and you have your own little private room.
Right.
He's in there Instagramming the Viking goddess from Denmark. They're sending selfies back and forth. You know,
It's going to be the next Anthony Weinergate. Will be between Obama and Haley Schmidt.
yeah, that's going to be.
Haley Schmidt.
All right, so what are the top 20 Pinocchios?
All right, let's take a look at some of the Pinocchios. And the Pinocchios, the mainstream media has affectionately named lies by elected officials as Pinocchios, and they rate politicians each week with who got the most Pinocchios, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Well, President Obama has about 20 Pinocchios since he took office. And I'll just read a couple of them. This is from BizPac Review, a great website to go to, along with Dr. Rich Swire. I think, did we show his at the beginning? We didn't put his up yet, though.
No, I can put it up if you want.
Let's show Rich Swire's, because Rich Swire, who used to be Watchdog Swire.
Right?
Watchdog Wire he used to be.
Has he changed it officially to Watchdog Swire?
No.
He was the editor of the Florida version of Watchdog Wire. But he has moved on, and he started his own blog. He now has his own blog. Lieutenant Colonel Rich Swire, very good friend of ours, helped start the Florida Security Council, helped start and continues to help work with the United West. This, folks, is his new website.
It's a great looking website.
Very good looking. Dr. Rich Swire, SWIER.com.
Right.
Very contemporary site. He is a conservative with a conscience. We highly recommend going to this every day. He is appropriating good material. He's got good writers, and he's putting a lot of our videos on there, the ones that we edit down.
That's a good looking site. He did a great job on it.
Very, very good. And another site, the one we're going to look at right now with the Pinocchios, the lies by the president, is our good friend Jack Fenari's site, BizPac Review. Out of, I think, 50 sites in America, BizPac Review is on the top 50 conservative sites in America. It's really getting some honors. They're doing a great job. So BizPac Review, if we can show that. And I'll just throw out a couple of these. Remember when not only did he campaign President Obama, but he promised, I promise you, I will close in 1 year Guantanamo Bay, Gitmo. I will close it. It's un-American. It's unhealthy. It's un-Cuban. Oops, I don't mean to say that. He just said, I'm closing this thing down. It's bad for everybody. Is it still open today, 5 years later?
Yes, sir.
Is it?
How does that work? How do you have the balls to make these crazy campaign statements and then not do what you say you're going to do?
Well, when you realize that it's a stupid idea to close it in the first place.
What are you going to do with them?
Send them to Illinois.
Yeah, that
was one of the options.
I know.
Thompson, Illinois, and I worked with some folks to keep it. Should have sent it to his hometown, his home state. But here's how this works, folks. You go, yeah, how did that ever happen? Now, we're telling you this stuff because we want to erode your confidence in President Obama. Why? He's a doctrinaire Marxist. He's clearly a socialist, and if he were unfettered in his governance, he would start moving private property into communal governmental ownership
He already
and centralize
has.
everything. More so than he is. It's all a matter of percentages.
You didn't build that.
But what they did, it's very simple. They polled and they saw that in the people that are going to vote for them, you'll increase the turnout rate and the activism rate if you say you're going to close Guantanamo. Whether or not it's possible or it even makes sense was completely irrelevant to the campaign slogan that generated votes to win. Once he got in office and he said, I'm going to close Guantanamo, all the generals are looking at him and the CIA and the FBI.
No, you can't.
Hey, son, come
here.
Sit down, son. We ain't closing anything, okay?
We ain't closing any. Well, the only real option I ever heard about Guantanamo Bay was returning them to the country, which I thought was a great idea. Just take them over and launch them out of the plane.
Oh, you mean return them that way?
Johnny B. Good just had a good point. The first thing he did is he socialized the auto industry practically.
Yeah, there you go.
Almost the first day in the job.
And did you see yesterday on that topic, the CEO of GM basically, when asked the question if they planned on repaying the $10 billion back to the taxpayers, looked at the questioner like he had three heads. Yeah.
Really? Seriously? You guys just asked that?
So the plan of returning the terrorists to their country from 4,000 feet up. That was,
I was going 20,000 times.
20,000 feet.
Anyway,
time to
I just get time to get their stuff together.
Put a
I'm humane.
Put a webcam camera the other light on their head. All right, a couple of other things. Today I'm pledging to cut the deficit in half by the end of my first term in office. By 2012, the deficit will be cut in half.
What is that national debt clock saying right now?
It's over 17 trillion.
Instead, the national debt has increased $5 trillion. $5 trillion on his watch. Let's
What
see.
are you worried about? It's not like you're going to have to repay it.
You remember the shovel-ready jobs, that whole thing? He said, I've got shovel-ready jobs for everybody across America. Okay, we'll take them.
Yeah, I guess they're not so shovel-ready, are they? And he was laughing with that comment. He laughed.
That was an absolute lie because he knew that there were no shovel-ready jobs.
I mean, for him to have the audacity with that jobs group that he put together that he's only met with twice in 5 years, the Jobs Summit, remember? Where he kind of giggled, gets those shovel-ready jobs. We're so shovel-ready.
Oh, I'm just going to fill up the national debt clock here real quick.
Throw that up while we're talking.
Yeah, 17,234,387,000. I can't
remember. You can't even count it down to the millions because it keeps going.
We owe infinity. Thank you, President Obama.
Yes.
Folks, our show today, we always have a big idea. The first half of the show, President Obama is tanking as a president. We want you not to place confidence in him anymore because he has plans, particularly in the area of immigration, to revolutionize this country by bringing people who are violating federal law. You just imagine when you go shopping. You go to your supermarket, and there's 3 people in front of you. You're standing there with your cart, and you wait patiently. Then all of a sudden, 10 people run out of nowhere, push you back, and get in front of you. and they go, sorry, we're here first. What do you feel like when that happens? Do you say, oh, they need the food because they're just coming into town, or do you go, hey, what are you doing? It's the same exact thing. We have people all over the world waiting legally to come into this country. This country has no obligation to let anybody in at any time. Out of the graciousness of our heart, we provide asylum for people who are under political pressure. We don't even have to do that. We do that because we're a gracious country. Then going beyond that, we say, you know what? Immigration has been a good thing historically in our country's history. We're going to let folks in from different countries in a regulated, controlled manner. And then all of a sudden, 10 million people from Mexico and other countries say, oh, we're really Americans. We want to come in there. We want your money and your stuff.
I want some Obamacare, man.
And they come over the Rio Grande. They come illegally in from other countries, too, not just there. And because they have squatted here, because they've been in front of you in line at your supermarket for 2 hours, now the manager comes and says, well, sorry, ma'am, he's been there for 2 hours. He's earned the right. We can't get him out of line now. He's been there 2 hours. And, in fact, his cousin has come and joined him. So, sorry, ma'am, you got to wait while we bring all these other ones in. This president is going to radicalize this country in a negative way, only for the sake of increasing Democrat votes. We need Republicans and conservatives to get ready 320 days from today, November 4th, 2014. That's why we're doing this show. That's why we're bringing you the truth about the lies of the president. Look what he said about health care. This was before all the Obamacare nonsense. During campaigning, we are going to work with you to lower your health care premiums by $2,500, and we'll do it by the end of my first term as a president.
Yeah. Next one's great.
Unbelievable.
I don't take a dime of their, meaning lobbyists' money. I don't take a dime of the lobbyists' money, and when I'm president, they won't find a job in my White House.
Except every position is filled by lobbyists.
Yeah.
In fact, Obama granted waivers at will and has more than a dozen lobbyists got great jobs in his administration. I pledge to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. He does executive orders. He finds they're not even legal. Andy McCarthy, who was on the other day, has written extensively about the president's illegal activities.
Everyone needs to go watch that video. It's cut out, just the Andy McCarthy video on its own, or interview just on its own.
It's out there. Andy McCarthy and Nelson Mandela. Just Google that.
The next one's one of my favorites,
Which
Tom.
one? Go ahead, read it.
If you've got a business, you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen. That, my friends, is socialism.
Right.
All right, now look at this one on Israel. And what we're doing right now, 34 minutes after 3 o'clock on the 18th December. Tom Trento, your host here with the boys. We got a guest, and we got Damon, Abdullah. Abdullah's been quiet. We got
Yes,
Mark
not
over
very
here.
much. You have not spoken Did You Hot very much
I got
today,
one
my
for you
favorite
right now,
topic.
Abdullah.
Oh, yes. Looks like I will be busy second half of show, yes?
Why don't you read the one where it says about Israel? What did Obama say?
To Israel, quote, we have not only made sure that they, Iran, have to stop adding additional centrifuges, we've also said that they've got to roll back their 20% advanced enrichment down to 0. In fact, the deal allows Iran uranium enrichment of 5%.
That is unbelievable, where he made those claims.
I tell you what, everything, and it's not just everything he says is a lie. It is a bald-faced lie on TV. He just says it. Nobody ever catches him or stops. I'm going to investigate the IRS thing. Crickets chirping.
Right.
I'm going to get to the bottom of the AP story. Crickets chirping. There's nothing happening with the NSA. Nobody's not spying on your stuff.
To me, the IRS is still the biggest thing.
IRS.
The IRS is so
there's so
incredibly
many
big.
There's so many.
That you go, where are we? Where are we in East Benghazi?
I'm going to investigate Benghazi.
Yeah.
When he did one of his little friendly interviews a couple weeks ago, week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and the topic of the IRS being weaponized, or they didn't use the term, that's what I use,
Yeah.
but the IRS being focused on investigating conservative groups, when his original reaction was he was going to get to the bottom of it. His reaction a week and a half ago was, that didn't really happen. Basically, it didn't happen.
You know, if you didn't know better, I mean, we're ranting and raving about the president's incompetence and his inability and his poor governance and his mismanagement. If you didn't know better, you would think his popularity fell in the polls.
Tom, it did.
It did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To what? Like who's
40.
he being compared to these days?
Oh, the former disgraced President Richard Nixon.
And do we have that in print to show those who are just joining us going, what is Trento doing today?
What's he going on kooky about today?
Yeah, the 37 minutes after 3 o'clock, we're beating up the president, and we're only doing it because ABC and the Washington Post did a recent poll, and they said that President Obama's got the ugliest, the absolute, there it is, right there on your screen, folks. Obama's current approval rating is the ugliest since
Nixon. Tricky Dick.
That is a low blow by the Business
when they've gone
Insider.
past Bush, they just blew past Bush. I was watching the MSNBC and all the, just for comedy. Yeah, they've gone way past Bush. They're like, oh my God.
What do you mean?
Worse. He's even worse than Bush.
Oh yeah, his ratings are lower and worse than Bush.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think? Let's take a second before we go to another great...
we have to get to your friend Mark here brings such good things to the table for second half of show.
Well, I want to show this Congresswoman up there, the Custer lady, saying something on the Middle East negotiations in Israel.
She's a great one. I like her.
She's great. She's a sequel. We did her last week.
She's a class act.
We had her on last week. She was asked the question about Benghazi. She had just come back. Her name is, what's her first name, Ann? Ann Custer, Kuster, Congresswoman up in New Hampshire. She went with AIPAC on a tour of Israel, got briefed, came back, held a town hall meeting, was asked the question, what are you going to do about Benghazi? And she's clueless on Benghazi.
Is he an actor?
That's not the Middle East.
That's not in the Middle East. That's nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, that's a guy who plays Gandhi, wasn't he?
In the same town hall, Benghazi. In the same town hall meeting, she was asked the question about the negotiations between the Jews and the Palestinians. When you got that cued, let me know.
Ready.
I'm ready. Here we go. Watch and Congresswoman. Look, folks, if you're out there and you're thinking, maybe I should run in 2014 for Congress, but who am I? Yeah, I don't know that much. Watch this lady, and you are highly qualified to run for Congress if this lady got elected.
In terms of negotiating with the Palestinians, again, I think it's a question of sort of a false choice. Either we negotiate with Palestinians or we don't negotiate with anyone, but not negotiating with anyone doesn't leave Israel in a safer place. And I think that's central to the question of Israeli security, is how to best be in the region surrounded by...
Okay, you can cut it there. She's hard to understand, the echo in the room.
Best be in the region?
No. I wanted it to play. She's hard to understand because of the echo. But I listened to her several times. It doesn't matter. She made no sense whatsoever.
What is
circular conversation with herself?
She goes, it's
we
a
have to
false
have
choice. And she had, I couldn't understand her content, let alone the clarity of her voice. So the point we just made in the past 30 seconds was you couldn't hear it too well, those of you driving in your car, even those of you watching. It doesn't matter.
She
She
didn't say
made
nothing.
no sense.
Like the Charlie Brown.
It was like that. And the folks that sent us that said, well, you can read it there. I mean, you got it on the I sent you the copy as to what she said. It was nonsensical. But here's where this is relevant on our show today at 40 minutes.
Yeah, bring up the copy. I'll translate.
Real quickly, because I'm transitioning into our Muslim Brotherhood section.
Okay.
So while
I got the copy right here, Tom. Here it is. I'm reading it real quick.
Not the whole thing.
No. Just first.
Salient
I got it. You ready?
Good. Exactly. Now, what point is raised for our purposes today is that Congresswoman Ann Custer, who is Custer Clueless. Congresswoman Clueless was trying to explain how the negotiations ought to take place in Israel with the Palestinians. Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to go back, take a walk down memory lane regarding the Palestinians and Egypt and Israel and the Muslim Brotherhood and all of that.
Well,
Can you wait a second? I'm trying to get on. Do you have a minute? Because I'm trying to sign up for my Obamacare.
Yeah, real quick.
What are you doing?
We're signing up for
I'm
Obamacare.
signing up for Obamacare. Can you wait a second until we get to the Muslim Brotherhood?
We're in the middle of the show.
I know, but it says apply now.
Oh, okay. All right. Is that the? Oh, you got the Obamacare website up there.
Yeah, but it's bouncing all around.
Come on, I'm trying to sign up in the apply now thing.
Why is that thing bouncing all over the place?
Oh, look who it is. It's that girl that's not even a citizen from the United States on the cover.
You mean...
you know what? Forget it. Back to the Muslim Brotherhood.
You mean
I give up. We'll try again later.
You were trying to put your cursor on the apply now
look,
button?
I'm trying. Put it up.
Put it back up.
I'm trying.
Here's what he's doing, folks. We're trying to have Damon apply to Obamacare.
I can't...
Whenever the cursor gets close to the apply now button, the button takes off and runs down the field.
It's right on the illegal immigrant right now. This is
Man.
Let's go back to the brother. Come on.
How did 1 million people
sign up?
All right. Hi, Tom Trento here on December 18th. For all of you just getting into your automobiles on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. We're broadcast on a 50,000-watt radio station coming out of Boca Raton, Florida, going from Miami, North Miami to Orlando. And then if you want to watch this craziness, you can do that. You can watch it on your iPhones. You can listen on iHeartRadio. You can catch us on wwnnradio.com, the website. You can catch us on theunitedwest.org. All over the place. Tea Party community. Be sure to go to Bare Naked Islam. Good friend Bonnie. She's got a great hard-hitting, hardcore website.
I hate that woman.
What we want to do right now on this Wednesday, 1 week before Christmas, is in the context of our national security work, our pro-Israel, our Zionist work, our anti-Islamic jihad work, we want to show you what the New York Times, when it was a clear-thinking, clear-headed, right-minded organization, how the New York Times used to handle the truth as opposed to its political spin and leftist commentary, leftist ideology today. Let's take a trip back, Mark. How far are we going back?
We're going all the way back. I think it's 1948, if I'm not mistaken.
The Clifton Daniel article?
They published June 13th, 1948.
All right, June 13th, 1948. If somebody was born on June 13th, 1948, how old are
65.
they now? 65? Yeah, 65? No. 40? Oh, yeah, 65. 1948. So we have a lot. That's our demographic, 35 to what, 95 or something?
65 is young.
Now, wait a minute. Let's get some historical perspective here.
Right.
June 13th, 1948, somewhere Israel became a country somewhere in there.
Yep. May 14th, says Johnny B. Good.
Johnny B. Good's got it.
All over that. Yeah.
May 14th. So May 14th is before or after June 13th?
Month before.
A month before, class. So this article was written 1 month after the United Nations declared that, along with Britain in the lead and the United States there. That,
and also, to give you a little context, too, Hassan al-Banna was assassinated earlier, wasn't he, in 47?
Well, let's check the date of his assassination.
I think it was January 47, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, 1922, the Ottoman Empire fell. And then in 28, Hassan al-Banna starts the Muslim Brotherhood. But we're in 48 now. It's a month after the I hate to say the founding of Israel because that's absurd. Israel's 4,000 years old. It's a month after. The article we're going to read from the New York Times is a month after the reconstitution of Israel. Understand, folks, from the time
the Nakba.
Yes, understand from the time that Charlton Heston led the Jews out of Egypt into the desert for 40 years, and sent Joshua and Caleb to go spy on the giants in the land of milk and honey, and everyone else was scared, and Moses never made it into the land of milk and honey. From that time when the tribe of Israel went into the land of milk and honey, that was the land given to the Israelis, who are the Jews, by God. That's 4,000 years ago. And almost from day one, the enemies around Israel tried to knock them out of that land.
Right.
But it was God's land given to them by God. And every single group of people over spans of time have been incapable of keeping them out of there. So 1948, May 14th, that wasn't Israel going to their homeland, going to a homeland. That was simply the reconstitution of the nation. There have always, continually for 4,000 years been Jews in Israel.
Right.
Continually, unbroken. Just tough people beat them up and made them run away or made them hide, but they've always been there. Very simple. Now they're there, and a warning to Israel.
Right.
Whenever you relied solely on your great iron shields and iron spears, you were defeated somehow. When you integrated your trust on God along with your weaponry, then you regain your land.
Right.
Just as important today. You have phenomenal weaponry, some of the stuff we don't even know about. But if you rely solely on your weapons, you will be defeated. You need to rely on Hashem, on the God who put you there and wants to keep you there. That has to be a critical part of your national security calculus. Remember that. Very important on this Christmas week.
And also, I want to clarify the point is actually Hassan al-Banna was killed in 49 in February.
So afterwards.
Afterwards, but I actually made a critical mistake because after Israel became a state, that's what fired him up in Egypt to start the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt to start revolting and start killing people in Egypt because they weren't going after Israel. Strong enough. So.
Oh, okay.
You must hunt down the Jews. There is no reason for a Jew to be in this part of the world.
All right. The Muslim world watches. It's great, these articles, how they go Muslim. They change the lettering of the word. Yeah. We're reading from an article, June 13th, 1948.
I thought there were two O's in that.
Yeah, Muslim. June 13th, 1948. And this is amazing, folks. This is a New York Times article. And
they would never do it today.
You would think that, it says Clifton Daniel wrote it. You would think Daniel Pipes wrote it.
Really?
Or Gaffney or Claire or somebody who is an astute Zionist who understands what's going on. But let's go through it. It's that important, this document. In fact, Mark, you sent me this earlier today.
Right.
I sent it to some of the Team B2 folks, and they went, oh, my word, what a piece of history this is.
Right.
The Muslim world watches Palestine. Now, it's a month later. Talk of pan-Islam is heard again, but the forces dividing 221 million Muslims are still strong. Somebody explain that sub-headline to me.
Talk of pan-Islam.
What's pan-Islam?
Meaning borderless Islam. The Ummah.
Yeah, pan. What's the word? The Greek
pan,
word? Like
yeah.
all.
All, yeah.
All. Everything has to be Islamic. The whole world has to be Islamic. Is heard again. When was it heard previously?
Between the years of 700 and
all the big caliphates, all the big jihads that took over the world as the known world at that time. So what the writer is saying at the New York Times is, these Muslims are on the march again.
And he hits it right in the headline. He's not even messing around with
right
this.
There. But conjunction, so he's comparing and contrasting two phrases in one sentence. The forces dividing the 221 Muslims are still strong. What forces are those dividing Muslims?
Sunni and Shia.
Yeah.
The inherent theological battle that's going on. And at this point, there's a division between the rich and the poor. Some of them are starting to make some money, and a lot of poor Muslims are going to have to figure out how do we shut those people up. All right, I'll start reading. We'll all take a chance apiece here.
There's only 10 minutes in show mix nothing.
To a certain degree, this was in London, to a certain degree, the fate of Palestine has become an issue between the Muslim East and the Christian West, between the true believers of Islam and the Christian infidels. This is 1948. It is the same exact situation as it was in 700, 800, 900, 1000, 1100, 1200, 1300, 1400, 2100. That this gulf may widen and become permanent is one of the many worries of the British government, who is driving this whole operation now, which is strategically and economically more dependent upon Muslim goodwill than any other Christian power.
I thought we were the big devil.
No, Britain was had their mandate, had controlled Israel.
Don't worry, we hate all of you.
France and the Netherlands, which also hold uneasy sway over large Muslim populations. Imagine I'd like to know the size of the Muslim population in Holland in 48. Share Britain's concern. So what we have, folks, is a geopolitical upheaval going on in Israel, with the land being identified as Israeli, and the Muslims going, screw this, we're going to make some trouble. Britain's concerned, France is concerned, and Holland is concerned, 1948, June. The Times, London, remarking that the masses of Christians had sided with the Zionists in Palestine. Look at that. That's an amazing statement.
Right.
The Christians, masses of Christians, are siding with Zionists in Palestine. Watch why. Partly because of their indoctrination in the Hebrew prophecies, which teach that the Jews are rightful owners of Palestine, asserted recently that the Arab fight against Zionism has failed to gain international support. Now, when I first became a Christian, a born-again Christian, one of the evidentiary elements presented to me was the fulfillment of the prophecies of the Bible. One in particular was that Israel had regained their homeland. And historically, in the ages of the universe, no people who ever experienced the diaspora, being dispersed all over, ever were reconstituted 2,000 years later. Because when you're thrown out of all these different countries, small group of people, you assimilate so much over 2,000 years that the nation you were is dissolved. This happens. This is normal.
Right.
For Israel to maintain 2,000 years of isolation, separation, diaspora, but maintain the central integrity, doctrinally and historically, of their faith, and to come back and get a homeland is nothing short of miraculous. It pushed me over when I was a doubting Thomas to say, that's a miracle, man. And that was predicted in the Bible, and I read the prediction. I went, and that what's happening in 1949, when Israel regained their homeland, the Christians went nuts all over the place. Because we're 50, 65 years removed from this. Christians then went, you got to be kidding me. This is in the Bible. It's right there. Look. Yeah. And that's what that
it must have been. About. I never really thought of it from that aspect. From a religious Christian of the time,
they went nuts.
You're probably waiting for a meteor shower the next day.
Everybody thought, well, what happened then, and we're not going to finish all of this.
No,
we're going to have to pick this up.
We'll come back to this for the next show because it's too important not to.
What happened then was a lot of Christian writers started looking prophetically at the Bible, and it said that they start putting dates on when the Messiah returned, based upon the return to Israel. And many people thought and still think we are in the last age here. All right, continuing reading of a 1949 article in the New York Times, no less, which is pro-Israel and anti-Islam. Imagine that.
My, how times change.
Yeah. In a letter to the Times, Edward Atiyah, secretary of the Arab office in London, who himself is a Christian, said that, now that's a good point, not all Arabs are Muslims, some are Christians, said that Zionism has failed to gain international support, said the Arab fight against, wait a minute, where am I here? In a letter to the Times, Edward Atiyah, secretary of the Arab office in London, who himself is a Christian, said that the Times' assertion was based upon the fallacy of identifying the Western Christian world with the world as a whole. With negligible exceptions, Mr. Atiyah wrote, the entire political conscious population of Asia and Africa are solidly behind the Arabs. And are utterly convinced of the justice of their cause. So this guy now, who's an Arab Christian, is saying, now, wait a minute, not all the Christians are on the side of the Zionists. In fact, a great portion of the Arab world, he's including the Muslims there, are not. So that's just an analysis, first couple of paragraphs. The countries that voted for the partition of Palestine in the United Nations General Assembly, he said, represented 599 million people. Those that voted against it represented 488 million people. Look at that, about 500 million apiece. But more people, the countries that voted for Israel to regain their homeland, more population. Those abstaining were another 500 million. So you got 500 million for, 500 million against, 500 million is abstaining.
But what it says right there, but hold on, what it says is those that abstained must be taken to signify disapproval. So basically what they're saying is almost twice as much of the world disapproved.
Of the he's playing games a little bit because of the countries.
An Arab playing word games? Get out of here.
Then throughout the world there are 221 million Muslims, most of whom, now these 500 million numbers are the populations of the countries. And I think we went over this once. We went through all the ones that said yes and no. Throughout the world, there are 221 million Muslims. What's the number
add
today?
a billion.
A billion.
1.2 billion. That's giving you how we talk about the population boom. We're
Six
down
times. Yep.
1.2 billion.
If that continues, 6 times that, there's going to be
okay, 65 years ago. Okay.
Yep.
That's 65 years ago, they've increased sixfold, over sixfold.
Right.
If they do that in the next 65 years, you're looking at
every person
about
on faith.
9 billion Muslims.
Yeah, I know.
Which is more than the population of the world is right now.
Yep.
Keep going. There couldn't be a clash of civilizations on the
There's
horizon.
there's
Nothing to worry about here.
Hey, Abdullah, what do you think about that? You could have 11, 12 billion Muslims in a few years.
Takbir! Takbir!
Okay.
This is so wonderful. You're so dead, white man.
I'm thoroughly depressed now.
I only can hope that you lived so long to see it.
65 years. All right, well, let's
Good
make
thing you
this
don't
point.
have any grandchildren, because they would certainly see it.
They would, yeah.
Or old dogs. Yeah.
Clifton Daniels, the guy who's writing this article, and we will pick this up at a later show.
I just want to.
You know what? I got a perfect day for this.
I want to pick up one important little thing on here.
All right.
This is the one of the best parts of this whole thing is well, we can save it if you want to. You know.
Give it, tease it real quick.
All right.
There's a minute
What
to
is
show.
feared
Tease
in
it.
London is that the issue of Palestine might help unite the Muslims against the West, as it has served to submerge feuds of the Arab states. They said, this guy predicted it. He says they're going to keep Palestine as a way to unite the Arab world.
65 years.
As Tom likes to call it, the festering wound.
Yeah. Right. Well, here's what we're going to do. Because today's Wednesday, the 18th, on TrentoVision here, folks. We're coming down to the bewitching hour.
We have Thursday is International.
Thursday's International Security Day. We have Barry Shaw Skyping in from Israel and Paul Weston, Liberty GB. Friday's Jumpin' Juma, Freaky Friday. We have booked Dr. Andy Bostom for the
there you go. So much.
We will go through this letter. He's an expert on antiquity, on Islamic antiquity.
Very
and
good
Jewish
historian.
antiquity. So we'll go through this letter with him. He'll put it in the context of jihad.
And we have many more letters like this.
And we got many more letters from the New York Times.
About a dozen of them.
And we will make application for every American, every Christian, every Jewish person, every conservative, every person of principle on Friday, how to handle the Islamic onslaught and President Obama, which are two in the same thing. See ya. Have a wonderful Wednesday. See you tomorrow.